Hello everyone and welcome to another video. So today marks 10 years since the 2014 Christmas special Last Christmas came out, and so to celebrate, here's the very first What If Christmas special, all about what if Jenna Coleman had left after last Christmas. Now, let me provide some context to all of this. You see, originally, Jenna Coleman's Clara Oswald was supposed to have left during the course of Last Christmas. This was because Coleman had been unsure as to whether she wanted to continue working on the show or not. In our timeline, she of course decided to stay on for Series 9, as she and Peter Capaldi didn't want to stop working together just yet. But Stephen Moffat had written two different endings for the special, one where Clara really did leave and one where she stayed. So this what if scenario would start off with an alternate ending to the special, with us picking the one where Clara is written out. This would, according to Shannon Sullivan's website, see the Doctor saying goodbye to the older Clara, and might have seen her pass away peacefully, perhaps. Clara then has a dream where she imagines herself climbing up the staircase that leads to TARDIS in the Snowmen. As she goes, she shifts between the various Clara splinters seen in Series 7, before settling on the form of the younger Clara from the modern day, who had travelled with the Doctor. She then smiles as the TARDIS flies past, off to another adventure. If this is indeed what had been planned for her departure, then I think it would have made for an incredibly moving final scene for a character. It would feel sad and tragic, but in a way that would feel kind of fitting for the character, and for a Christmas special, I suppose. And it fits in really well with the discussions as to what is or isn't real that the rest of the special plays into. In terms of who would have replaced Clara as the new companion, we actually already have a pretty good idea. Moffat had plans to have Faye Marseille's Shona, who appeared in Last Christmas, as the new companion for Series 9. These were obviously abandoned when Coleman decided to stay on, but in this alternate timeline, Shona now does indeed travel with the 12th Doctor. Moffat himself has stated that some of the details from Bill Potts' character arc were originally intended for the new Series 9 companion. There's a commonality between the two. I knew where I wanted to go next was a kind of earthy irreverence, I guess, if I put it in the most basic terms. I hadn't got a fully formed character, but I was messing around with that. So I can imagine Shona's relationship with 12 being similar to Bill's. She would be someone who wouldn't be afraid to quip back at the Doctor, but in a very endearing and teasing type of way. She might even ask lots of silly questions, a bit like how Bill did to start with. Think of her asking 12 lots of stuff in the pilot, for example. I don't think having Shona there instead of Clara would require a huge drastic amount of changes to the course of Series 9, but the beginning of The Magician's Apprentice would have to be pretty different. More time would have to be spent in the present day to reintroduce Shona to the audience and establish her as a new companion. Perhaps she bumps into the Doctor again, who Unit wouldn't need to look for now, as he would be there working with them to confront Missy after she makes her presence known to them. Think of 12 and Shona bumping into each other again in a similar tone to when Ten and Donna eventually bump into each other in Partners in Crime. Missy goads the Doctor into following her to Essex in 1138. Shona goes with the Doctor and they spend the next few weeks there, with the Doctor still engrossing himself with the locals, in playing a guitar on top of a tank fashion. Shona would roll her eyes at all of this. Missy would then gatecrash the Doctor's party and hand him his own confession dial, wanting to know what was going on. It is then that we would see the Doctor land on Skaro during the 1000-Year War, and encounter a young Davros seemingly leaving him to the mercy of the Handmines. Back in Essex 1138, Colony Sarf then appears, and takes the Doctor, Shona and Missy to see a seemingly dying Davros on modern day Skaro, and the rest of the story would play out pretty much the same from there, even though she would be really put through her paces in her first proper story, especially when she's on her own with Missy. Shona would eventually decide to travel with the Doctor. 12 would no doubt be sad about Clara's departure, and so Shona might feel sorry for him and realise that he needed someone to cheer him up. As I say, I think the rest of Series 9 would be more or less the same as it was in our timeline, just with Shona instead of Clara, obviously. But it has been over a year since I last rewatched Series 9, so feel free to point anything out that you think might need changing that I might have forgotten about. I think it would be great if Frank Skinner's Perkins character from Mummy on the Orient Express became a secondary companion for this alternate Series 9 though, as I just absolutely love that character. He would probably be there to provide some comic relief in a way that would be similar but still fairly different to Matt Lucas's Nardole. It would now be Shona that would be killed at the hands of the Raven in Face the Raven, which would still cause 12 to go down the same dark path in Heaven Sent and Hell Bent. Perhaps Shona would now be the one that would get her own TARDIS and travel with Ashildr/me, and I guess 12 would lose most of his memories of Shona as well. The rest of Capaldi's era would be the same, although I suspect Moffat might want to take Bill in a slightly different path as a character, as he would have now already used some of her details for Shona. The same would be the case for Nardole if Perkins had come back, although I must admit that it's less likely that Perkins would have come back, and I've only included it as a possibility because of my own fondness for the character and knowing how much Frank Skinner wanted to return to the show. So yeah, I would have really loved it if Shona had been a companion for Series 9, and if Perkins had been there as well, and I think the ending Moffat had in mind for Clara would have been really poignant and moving. But it's difficult to say how much the addition of Shona and possibly Perkins would have on Bill and Nardole for Series 10, as they would have made for a very similar TARDIS crew dynamic with the 12th Doctor. But anyway, so there's my take on what if Jenna Coleman had left after last Christmas. But what do you think? Do you agree with my take on it or not? And would you have done anything differently? Please let me know in the comments section below. And yeah, I bet this came as a bit of a surprise for some of you, as you were no doubt not expecting another what if before the end of the year, but I wanted to try a festive what if in keeping with the season. If you enjoyed me doing this, then please let me know, as I might do more what if Christmas specials in the future. Anyway, so thanks for watching, I hope you liked it. Please don't forget to press that subscribe button below, as well as press the bell icon at the side of it. And I hope you all have a Merry Christmas, or at least a Happy Holidays if you don't celebrate Christmas. So until the next time, bye bye!